This is Camper Dad again. I'm going to show you how to start up a 7 Days to Die. I see a lot of people out there that don't mess with the settings, they just kind of go with default. But when you take time to go through these menus, it makes the game a lot easier and a lot funner to play. So some of the things that you got to do, go to your options and go to your video. You want to turn your gamma up. See how we're above half? It's probably about 3/4. Your background capacity, you don't really have to change that, or your foreground, just makes for a better picture. And your motion blur is off. Distant terrain is on. I mean, you can go with defaults, but this makes your game play a lot better. If you got your gamma up like this and you don't have a mining helmet, you can get into buildings and see quite well. So, having said that, you can select your character. There's a lot of different characters you can go through and play. I'm going to delete one of my games. That way I can go ahead and show you some of the things that you can do here. So if I start a new game, you got to pick your character. And like I said, you can choose any one you want here. You're not going to get them looking like that when they start. They're going to be half naked. And so I like Hank. I'm going to do a private game. You can do creative multiplayer, or survival multiplayer, or a local game. And it says right there what it does: survive alone or with a friend in a local cooperative play. But this isn't where the meat is. So you want to go ahead and just grab you a private game. Those others, like if I go creative multiplayer or survival multiplayer, that means I can go online and I have a server and anyone can join. So we could do that, but I usually try the private game because this allows me to change and do the things that I like to play. So your world, you got two choices. You got Navezgane and you got Random Gen. Navezgane is a square map. It has about 3 cities, if I remember right. You got Parishton, you got Dyersville, and you got Gravestown. So that doesn't give you very many options to loot and do things like that. So Navezgane, it's good for a new starter, but when you come to someone that's played for quite a while, you don't really want Navezgane. You want to take the Random Gen. And the Random Gen map is a circle. So, and it's huge. A lot of times you'll get severe mountain terrain. Other times you'll get lots of water biomes. But in saying that, it has the most cities, and it also changes biomes quite often. So I leave it on Random Gen. That helps me a lot. I go to my private game options, and you start with standard options. Now this is how difficult it is for you to kill a zombie. Now, newbies, go ahead and start a scavenger. What I like to do, it just depends on what you want out of the game. If you want to have the challenge of killing zombies, then you can go up here to adventurer, nomad, warrior, survivalist, or insane. But I'm going to tell you, when you do this, you should put their settings on lower levels when you come to here and you say spawning. Unless you're really, 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 really good. But I like to go and keep it way down to scavenger, because this allows you to have, you know, 2 or 3 hits and they're dead. If you hit them in the head, they're dead. Now, some days I play adventurer. That way that gives it a little skill on them. But when you get into the bears and the dogs, scavenger's your way to go. Running, well, this is again, you know, like I said, it depends on what you want out of the game. So if you want the challenge of zombies coming after you, then put this on default, because they will run at night, and that's the challenge of this game. If you want the challenge of the zombies to kill you, then you want to change your difficulties, and you want to put these on default, because then they'll run at night and it'll give you that challenge. Now myself, I'm more of a builder and a investigator. You know, I want to go out and see the land and stuff that they have provided in this random gen. So again, I'll leave it on scavenger, but when I come to zombies run, I'll change it to never run, because I want to be out at nighttime and doing my scavenging as well. That lets me have more game time and investigating, you know, the map. Enemy aggression, the lowest you can do is normal, so this means they'll come after you and they try to gang up on you. Feral, you know, they really come after you then, and they can sense you even if you're hiding through walls and everything, so I leave it on normal. Your daylight length, now this is something that some people don't mess with. They'll take 12 or 14. I think the default is 12. But sometimes it's, you know, it's just not fun when you don't have time to build stuff and play. So if you put it on 12, that means your daylight's going to be from, like, I think it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then the zombies come out from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So I like to have an 18-hour day. This makes the zombies go and come about 10 p.m. and they leave at 4 a.m. So doing that gives you a lot less nighttime. But again, you can change it to what you want. It just makes it funner if the day is longer. So you have 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. or to 4 a.m. by having an 18-hour day. Your modded options, again, you know, it depends on how you want to play. If you want to make it really hard for you, then drop everything on death. I don't advise that. That means you have to go and find your bow and arrow or your rifle or whatever it is you had and go back and get your backpack. You can drop your tool belt, which is only what's down in your use button area. There's about 6 or 8 slots down there. And that tool belt, whatever you have in that's the only thing you'll drop. Everything in your backpack you get to keep. So if you have, let's say you have 2 bows and arrows, and one's in your backpack, one's in your tool belt. Well, you get killed, you drop your tool belt, you still have one in your backpack that you can go right back to that spot and use against the zombies. You have your backpack, you can drop it only, so you keep everything in your tool belt. I don't like that either, because you can hold a lot more in your backpack than you can in your tool belt. So I usually just drop the tool belt. You don't want to drop anything when you quit, but you can. You can do the same thing there. You can delete it all, you can backpack only, or tool belt only. But I usually do nothing. Enemy memory. So if you're running around the map and you pass a zombie, they're going to chase you for 30 blocks or 30 seconds. You can go to 45, you can go to 60, you can go to 75, you can go to 90, and they just keep coming. Keep that on 30. Enemy spawning. Now again, we're on scavenging, so the higher you put this on enemy spawning, the more points you'll get. See, it's telling you on the side over there. Disabled, you don't get any zombies. Very low, you only get 50% of your zombies. Low, you get 75%. Medium is 100%. But if I'm on scavenging and they never run, I'll put it up on high or very high spawning. Block durability is 100. Loot spawn time, you can make your block durability at 200, but that is very bad, because what that does is, if you have a pickaxe and you go and try to destroy a rock, it'll take you twice as long to get through that rock. Same with a tree. If you want to chop a tree down, it takes you twice as long to chop through that tree. And it also takes the zombies the same amount of time to get through your base. So it'll take them twice as long to beat through a rock to get through your base. I always do it on 100 because I like to be able to bust rocks and trees. Loot respawn time. This is the time it takes for the loot to respawn. So if you look in a car and you take everything out of it, and then you keep playing the game, 5 days later in game time, on the 5th day you can go back to that car and there'll be something in it. You can have that 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50. So it can be 50 days before the loot respawns in your car. I personally don't like that, so I'll bring it all the way back down to 5. So 5 days it'll respawn in that car. Your loot abundance. Now this is how much loot you'll find in the car, or in the house, or in the box, wherever you're at. You can change it where you only get 1/4 of what you normally get. 30, 75, or 100. That's when you get 100% stuff. Or you can go twice as much. So I like to have 200% abundance. You can do your airdrops. They can be every 168 days, 72 days, 24 days, or never drop. I leave it on 24, so at noon every day you'll get an airdrop. I call it a care package. This airdrop will drop down and give you things like guns and first aid kits and all sorts of stuff that you can use for your in-game play. Now here's another one that a lot of people mess up. Now you can do your 24-hour cycle. 24-hour cycle means how fast or how slow the game cycles in an hour. Okay? So if you're playing the game, this 10 means that you will do a 24-hour cycle in 10 minutes. That's fast. So you don't want to do that. I personally like to have as long of a day as I can so I can go out and scavenge and kill zombies. There's a 20-minute day, 30-minute day. So every half hour when you play this game, every half hour, you'll make it through a day. I like to get mine up to 120. So that means 2 hours of regular time gets me through one day on this game. And that's how most people should set up their game if they like to play 7 Days to Die. So I like to do that so I can go and play this game longer. Okay, you can do an hour, you can do less, but 120 means 2 hours of game time, or regular time is 24 hours of game time. Alright, down to airdrops. I like to have my airdrops on because once the airplane comes by, it'll tell you that's where you're going to have your care package. And you can go pick it up that way. So I usually turn it on. You can turn it off if you want, but that's bad because you can't never see it. But I do want to tell you though, there is some problem with this. So let's say on day one you drop a care package and it comes down and it lands. If you don't go get it, the next day if one comes quicker or is closer to you, you won't see that second one on the map any longer. So it just depends on what you want to do there. So I'm telling you, you need to go get your airdrops when they drop or they'll disappear. Sometimes what I'll do, I'll go on the map and I'll put a place marker on that spot. So if another one does come before I get that one, then I know where it's at. You'll also lose your drop if you end up getting out of the game and getting back into the game. You'll lose your airdrop as well. Now when you're running around the map, you can see these airdrops. So if you look at your map and it's gone, if you're out running around, you'll get to that spot and it'll show up again. Your mini bikes, you want to see them so that way if you're out running around and you're not riding your mini bike, you know where it's at. And cheat modes, now here's one for you. If you're just here to play the game and you want to make the challenge of your zombies, then turn your cheat modes on. Because like I said on the standard options, if you come in here and you raise this way up here to insane, put that on default and put that up on feral, you know, because you're wanting to fight zombies, then that one is the one that you want to have on too. You want your cheat modes on because this gives you everything at your fingertips. Because then it's about building your base. What can I do to build my base and not be hit? Alright? So if you want to build a base and just fight off zombies, turn your cheat mode on. And Joseph, every time I've played, it's done that for me. I do lose it. So I'm not sure what you mean you don't actually lose it. But I am telling you, I have seen that, and it does lose your loot and everything. So anyway, standard options, modded options. So that's what you got to do, and you can restore your defaults. You got multiplayer and your rule sets. So that's how I set up a game. It's more fun that way. And like I said, my gamer tag is CamperDad. So I play most people. But starting the game, then you want to come up here and just come up with a name. So I'm going to put tutorial. And then I'm going to hit OK. Yeah, I have. I mean, if you get a second care package that drops, it does lose my ability to see where the airdrop drops. Now, like I said, we won't get through this day because I've got it set on 120 minutes. So it'll take me 2 hours to get through one day here. Yeah, that's right, Joe. If they're far away and you get one closer to you, it'll disappear. That's what I'm saying. Hey, what happened here? Let's try this again. And yes, that's what I'm saying, Joe. If the care package comes down, you can see it online. But if you get one closer to you, typically that second one will disappear if you don't pick it up first. That's what I've seen in here anyway. And you do not get your care package on the very first day. Man, the PlayStation Network's having problems today. What is going on? Yes, the package does remain. That's what I'm saying. When you're running around, after it falls the first day, and you get a second one that falls, and that one goes off your map, that's what I'm saying you need to do, is to go on your map and be able to put an X on that spot, because after the second package drops, if it's closer to you, the first one will disappear until you start running around. And if you run around, it will show up again. Like if you get close to it, and then when you loot it, it'll disappear. But if you don't loot it, it'll still stay on the map, and it'll still show up if you run next to it. So it's just, is it going to do it again? It did. What is going on here? Well, guys, not sure what's going on. Let me try to get into a different map that I have. I think this one is the one that I had. Let's see if this one can get on, because I'm on day, I think day 42 or 41. And I could possibly be having network problems, but I can't see how I'm on YouTube if, if I'm having problems. It's gonna kick me out again. Well, I have no clue what's going on here. Let's go ahead and close out the app.